Hello there, and welcome back to Zielonka. So we took a little nap at Grandma's house last night, and we're awake bright and early, 6 a.m. on this September morning. So last month we made away with some decent income. We did 2 very lucrative deadwood contracts and came away with 60,000. That's now down to 57,000 with the better contract payment of our $100,000 loan. So today we're going to be doing more deadwood contracts, hopefully, if they come up. Otherwise we can do fertilizing contracts. But let's take a look first of all at what we are aiming towards as a next step. We go into the vehicle store. In fact, let's check the discount store quickly, see if there's anything fun in here that's come up overnight. Doesn't look like there is. No, nothing in here that's come up overnight that's useful to us. So what are we aiming for? We are looking at harvesters, and I've got a couple of mods here, 3 different mods here for relatively low price harvesters. So the cheapest one, 55,000, we could actually afford that right now, but also we would need the header to go with it. So that's 20,000 plus another 1,500 for the header trailer. The next one up, the header here, if I look at the header again, the header here is only 4-meter header, so not great, but it might be a good place to get us started with a harvester. If we look at the next one, this is a $65,000 harvester, and if we look at the header, it's got a slightly wider working width, but we're looking at 101,500 total price for the harvester, header and trailer. And then if we look at the next one up after that, we're again looking at 100,000, and it doesn't look like there's a header trailer for this, so 100,000 for that. So I think we are going to aim towards this cheapest harvester. So we need 76,500. Now the good thing with our trailer that we bought is that it can be reconfigured for free apparently, which is kind of nice. So it can be reconfigured for a grain trailer. What I'm thinking we should do is see if we can do 1 or 2 more deadwood contracts today, and then we might be able to buy that harvester and do some harvesting contracts. So let's take a look. What do we have in our contract screen? We do have another deadwood contract, and this is 10 trees. Now this I think is definitely worth doing. What else do we have? We've got one in 86, so 2 fertilizing contracts, 86 and 70. And let's just take a look at what we do have for harvesting contracts. We have peas, which we can't do because we don't have the machinery. We have potatoes, which we can't do. Sorghum, which we could do, but that's a tiny field. And then sorghum again, which is also a tiny field, and then carrots, which we can't do with a regular harvester and header. So is it actually worth it? We do have some liming contracts here, which we could do with our spreader, but the lime gets drained very quickly, and so this would probably need a whole ton of lime, and I'm not going to be carrying that around, so that's not really on the cards. Pretty good paying contracts, but yeah, I don't think that's on the cards for us. What else do we have here? Supply and transport, wood transport. Yeah, not really interested in any of those right now, so I'm going to take the deadwood contract and let's head over to that area over by the train station and get some more trees chopped down. I'm actually wondering if it's going to be worth buying a harvester this year. Let's actually take a quick look in the calendar. Where's our crop calendar? Here it is. So what do we have in October? In October we have corn, so we can't do that with a regular header. Green beans we can't do. Oilseed radish we can't do. Olives no. Parsnips no. poplar, nope. Red beet. Soybeans is coming next month, so we could potentially do that with a regular harvester. And really that's it. So it's probably not going to be worth buying a harvester this year. What it might be worth doing, however, is we plant barley and wheat this month and next month. So what it might be worth doing is actually looking at buying our first field and a low-priced seeder and cultivator if we can, because that will allow us to plant our grain for our chickens that we need for the VIP order. So that might be something that's worth looking at instead of the harvester. And then what we can aim to do is work on contracts to build up enough money to buy the harvester for next season, so that we can harvest our own field along with other people's fields. It seems like it might be a better plan. We will think about that over the course of this month. Absolutely love the volumetric fog in the new version of this game. Okay, so here we are at the railway crossing. Make sure there's no trains coming. I want to be taken out by the local train. And now we can head off the road here, off the train station, up this path, and we can start cutting down these trees. Let's see where the first one is. I can see a couple of them up there. I've got 10 of them, so this should actually be a fairly good contract for us. We think that each tree is worth around 2,500 in terms of its sale price. This could actually get us enough to buy our first field and our not the harvester, but our cultivator and seeder. Let's take another quick look in the store and see how much we can get these things for. In fact, let's chop down the trees and see how much money we have. Then we can worry about, and we can see how much the tools that we're looking for cost. Okay, I will hand you over to the capabilities of a time lapse, and I'll rejoin you once I've cut down some trees. Okay, so I think we filled up the trailer as much as we can. That last log there, definitely could have packed it a little better, so we could squeeze a few more on there. In fact, should I do that? I think the time it will take to repack that, we may as well just sell what we have here and then squeeze the rest of the logs onto a separate trailer. We're going to have to make 2 trips anyway, so it doesn't really matter if we get any more logs on this trailer. Let's see where we're going to sell these logs. So wood is going to 1850 over at the carpentry. That's right across the other side of the map though, isn't it? It's not that far away. It's 800 meters away. Where are we? So we are here. Oh, the carpentry isn't that far away. I think it's worth taking them over there because the alternatives, there's only one alternative that's closer, and that's a sawmill. And that's just down by the station that we came through to get here. And yeah, it's over $100 per 1,000 liters less. So we're going to be going over to the carpentry. We've got almost, I think, almost 6 trees in the trailer, so I wonder how much we will get for this. Hoping around 15,000 euros. That would be ideal, but we will see. Get 15,000 euros for this load, and then maybe 10,000 euros for the next load, plus the 1,500 to complete the contract. That will be, 26,000 euros. That will be a good haul for this contract. The train going past. Be a good haul for this contract, and then we can see what options we have for fields and cultivators and seeders. I think we have a plan. Okay, so here we are approaching the carpentry. Let's see how much we are going to get for this load of logs. Reverse in there. Okay. $14,552. Pretty much exactly what I estimated it to be. That was a good guess. I'm happy with that. Okay, so I think we can hope for 10,000 from the next load of logs, and then 1,500 from the contract itself. I think that will put us in a good place to hopefully buy a field and a cheap cultivator and seeder. And I think the plan I outlined at the beginning of this episode might just come together. We will see. Okay, I'm going to get back to cutting down those dead trees and collecting them up, and I'll rejoin you again shortly. Okay, so we have all of our Okay, so we have all of our 10 trees cut down. We have them all loaded on the trailer, somewhat precariously. Definitely got a full trailer, logs hanging off in every direction. And we've got one log on the log fork, which is doing its best to escape, as is the other log, and it's succeeded for now. Get back in here, you. Come on. There we go. And then let's just jump out and grab this tiny little... Oh, it's not really a log, is it? It's almost a stick compared to the others. But it's always the little ones that cause problems. I'll get back in there, you. There we go. It's not coming out now. Just jump back in the tractor, refasten everything, and that should stay in there until we get to the sawmill. Speaking of the sawmill, let's just quickly check the prices again to make sure they are still the same. Yeah, it looks like they don't change that much. So, $18.50 over at the carpentry. So let's head over there, get these sold, and see how much money we've made in total from this contract. Okay, here we are over at the sawmill, and ready to offload our second trailer of logs and complete this contract. So, let's see how much we're going to get. So I have to maneuver this into here. Oh, I think I might have messed it up. Oh no, not so far. Not going to do it in one pass this time though. There we go, just need to realign ourselves a little bit. And we need to make sure we don't hit the pole here. There we go. I wonder if we can fit them both in. I don't think we can we? No. Let's see if we're in the cell area. We are. 18,000 for all of those logs. Wow. Plus the log we've got on the fork here. Let's just get that in the cell area so we can get rid of it. I think that should do it. Plus 800, plus 1,500 for the contract. So we are on 92,000 euros now. Let's just switch off the engine. Let's take a look, because I think we might be able to buy our first field. So we're up here at the north of the map. Now where do we want to look to buy a field? I do quite like the look of these fields as we drove past them. We want something quite flat to start out with, because we're going to be trying to build farmland on it. Now, if we can find something that has either wheat, barley, I think oats. I think chickens can eat oats, can't they? Wheat or barley, ideally, though, because that has a much higher yield than oats. So, what's this field? What does it have in it? Doesn't tell me. It's going to tell me in there, right? Yeah, it's this one tells me. So this one is I wish it would tell me in that information there. It looks like I'm going to have to find out by switching the crops on and off, which is kind of annoying, but okay. So what do we have in terms of barley? Nothing planted with barley. And wheat, we have a few fields planted with wheat. We have 30, 28, 42. I wonder what 30 and 28 are like. How much is this to buy? This is 64,000 to buy. This might be a good place to get started, because then we wouldn't have to buy a cultivator or a seeder until next year, and it's 65,000. And it's got a great expected yield potential with the precision farming. I think this might be a good option to get us started. What other options do we have? We have 46 over here. Now this is 75,000, and that's next to this farmland over here. How much is this one to buy? This is part of field 45, isn't it? Yeah, we don't have enough money for that, and it's got an unplanted field. I like the idea of this. also like the idea of this. So where do we start our farm? Do we have anything over here? Let's, oops. What do we have? We have 42 as well. That's a long, skinny field. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to drive over to these fields and see which one is the flattest, and then we might make a decision based on that. Let's go take a look. Okay, so here we are over at field 42. Is it field 42 we were looking at? It was field 42, and it's saying it has wheat in it. Let's just take a quick look. Oh, okay, the wheat's withered in that field, so that's no good for us. Let's take a look at the crop calendar. Oh, that's unfortunate. So the wheat in that field is withered, so we're not going to be buying that field. Plus, it's not that flat, so that's not really useful to us. So there's 2 more fields down here, and from what I can see, looking at it from this angle, they look like fairly flat fields, so this might be the place we end up starting out. What's in field 41? Field 41. That's not wheat, that looks like oats. So 30 and 28. That's 30 there on the left. That's also withered. That's in field 28. This doesn't look too promising, but let's take a look. What do we have in here? Is this growing? It's harvested. Yeah, so none of those fields look ideal, so let's go back to the drawing board. I probably could have found that out just by looking at this, couldn't I? Yeah, there we go. Learning curve. Okay, so yeah, so let's take a look. Crop types. Okay, this gives us a good view. What's 8 and 18? Is that corn? Yeah, that's no good. Corn's no good for us. Oat is in 41, but I think... yeah, oat, that's harvested. That's withered. Wow, everything's harvested and withered. These farmers are definitely lazy and not looking after their crops. What's in 40? It's a brown one. Is that sorghum here? We have sorghum in 40, but we don't have a way of harvesting that right now. Let's see what we have in here in terms of harvesting. We don't really have much in the way of harvesting. I'm going to have to take a think about this and come back to you with my next steps. Okay, what I think I'm going to do is not buy any fields this month. And the reason for that is that all of the fields are withered. What I'm going to try and do is wait until next month. Let's take a look at this. Do we have any sowing contracts? So the specified field. A couple of sowing contracts. I'm looking at these to try and see if the fields that are withered are waiting to be sowed, and if the farmer's going to sow them if we don't. So I'm not too sure. But what I think I'm going to do is do this fertilizing contract, because that's 5,000 euros, and we have plenty of fertilizer in our spreader, so we can do that. And then I think I'm going to wait until next month to look at purchasing a field, because if we look at the crop calendar, wheat can be planted this month and next month. Is that right? Am I looking at that right? Yeah, wheat is this month and next month, and so is barley. So we'll wait until next month to see if any of those fields are replanted with wheat or barley. Yeah, so let's jump back in our tractor. Let's head over to the store, pick up our spreader and get that field fertilized. And then we can see next month which field we can buy and make a decision. Because even if we... Which way is the best way to go? Because next month, if the fields aren't planted, what we can do is buy one of the fields and then maybe use our leftover money to buy a seeder and a cultivator and then plant the field ourselves. As long as we get wheat or barley in next month, somehow, then we'll be in a good place. When we get over to the store, I will take a look. Oh, and that was definitely not planned. Can I right myself here or no? Don't want to reset myself if I don't have to, but let's see. There we go, I've righted the tractor. I wonder if I can right the trailer. Can I do this? Yeah, I suppose I could send the trailer back to the store because I won't have to come back and get it. That's not such a big deal, but let's see if we can right it. It'd be better off to try and flip it at the bottom, wouldn't it? Okay, not quite low enough. Can we get it under there? Nope. One more try and then we'll reset it. No, this tractor isn't quite heavy enough, unfortunately. Yeah, that's not happening. Okay. Looks like we're resetting the trailer. Never mind. Where are we? We are here. Yeah, let's reset that back to the store. Okay. We will get back over to the store and we will make sure we take corners a little more carefully next time. What was I saying? I was talking about cultivators and some kind of sowing machine. So when we get over to the store, I'll take a look at what we have in terms of a cultivator and a sower that we can purchase for around 30,000 euros. Because the field, one of the fields, or the larger of those two fields that we just looked at, was 65,000. So that's what we would need to be able to sow that field next month. And also some seeds, actually. We would need those, wouldn't we? Yeah, so let's get our spreader hooked up. And let's take a look. Anything in the discount store, first of all? Anything for sowing? This is a, yeah, it's a regular seeder. What's that? That's a slurry distributor. Nothing in there, so let's take a look at how much it would cost to buy a new one. Okay, how much is the cheapest seeder? The cheapest seeder is 33,000, so I think we're going to be hoping that just looking at different options we have here. And actually, we don't have enough power to operate these seeders, so yeah, we really need either a really flat field or we need a pre-planted field. pre-planted is probably going to be the way to go, because alongside a cedar, which is going to be 33,000, which will take us up to 100,000 needed in total, along with our field purchase. We're then going to need a cultivator, because that cedar isn't direct drill, so we'd need another 10,000 for cultivating, 15,000 if we wanted something with a bit wider working width. Yeah. The other alternative is to go with a slightly cheaper field. Maybe one of these smaller fields over here. Which one of these fields? Any of these have wheat in them? So field 68 has wheat in it. Is that also withered? Yeah, that's withered as well. But that might be a more realistic option, because that's 43,000 euros. And if we purchase that, we're going to have 50,000 euros left for planting and cultivating, which is about what those two machines cost. 33.10, that's 43 plus seeds. How much are seeds? Seeds 12.60. Yeah, so I think that might be a better way, a better option. Anyways, let's get this field 48 fertilized, and we can think about that some more. I don't think I'm going to make a purchase until next month anyway, because I want to see what fields get auto replanted overnight. Let's take a quick dive down here to get to that field that needs to be fertilized. Make sure we've got the correct working width. I believe it's this one here, isn't it? Next one on the right. Okay. So let's see if we've got our lines set up. We do not. So let's set up our steering assist lines. One headland, side offset 0. Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay. Let's get this field fertilized and think about how we're going to approach this first purchase. I think buying a smaller field might be a better idea. That field, the last wheat field that we considered. Let's take a quick look while we're driving down here. We've got quite a way to go. So, yeah, this field 68 looks like a good option here. Maybe we'll go take a look and see the. We'll go take a look and see how flat the field is. That might give us that might give us a good idea of whether or not it's suitable for our first field. Okay, I will come back to you once this field is fertilized. Okay, so we are done with this field, and so let's quickly collect this contract. It's another 5,400, which is nice, because I think we used about 700 or 800 litres of fertilizer there. So it cost us about 1,000 in material, and we gained 5,400. Now, what else can we do? I don't think there's much more of an option. There is 86, 37, 70. That's right up the top there. That's right down the bottom. So both quite far away from where we are. We do have another deadwood contract. I'm wondering if it's worth taking this for 7 trees. I think it might be. It might be worth doing this. And then we can, once we've done that, we can call it a Call it a month for September. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so back over to the store. And we will swap out our spreader for our trailer. And we'll get over and take care of that other Deadwood contract. And that will take us up to, hopefully, around 115,000. Thinking 20,000 for 7 trees worth of wood. It might be, yeah, I'm thinking that all sounds about right to me anyway. We will see. Okay, so we are almost there with these 7 trees. It's taking a while, but we've managed to so far fit 5.5 trees on our one trailer. So I'm hoping we can get these 2 final logs on here. And then what I might do is just chop the other tree down and leave it here, because I don't really want to go all the way over to our sell point. Oops. I don't really want to go all the way over to our sell point and then come back just for one more tree. So we'll see how the trailer's looking once we've loaded these 2 logs on, and then we'll make a decision on whether or not to sacrifice the final tree for the sake of saving a little bit of time. We are starting to lose light here a little bit, so I'm conscious of that as well. Don't want to be foraging around for trees in the dark, even though I know where the other tree is. It's just over there to the right of the screen. We'll see. Let's get to, I think this is 2 different pieces, isn't it? Yeah. Managed to, as you've probably seen, I've managed to find a way to pick up 2 logs at once, so this is half as tedious. Still a little tedious, but half as tedious as it would be. Not like that, that's not how you do it. It's down here on top, open the claw, down all the way, close the claw, and then hopefully, there we go. There are 2 logs. I think this is log, last one we just picked up is a little too big for the trailer. Do I chop it in half? I don't think so. I'm going to squeeze it on hang it off the back and hope that it doesn't cause too many problems. We've got a nice gap just down the middle of our trailer here. What am I stuck on? Oh, there's a tree right there, isn't there? That's annoying. Okay, I'm gonna get myself off of this tree. There we go. And then let's see how we can best place these logs. This might just work out perfectly, actually. Get this one right down the middle. There's a nice gap. That's about where I want it. This trailer, this tractor isn't quite tall enough. That's going to work though. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly where I wanted it to go. Perfect. Okay, now this final log, slowly rolling its way off. Come on, off you get. There we go. Now, can I get the fork out of here? Yeah, there we go. Just perfect. So, what do we think? I'm thinking that we just cut that other tree down and leave it here. Although there is a nice space here for it, isn't there? Okay. I'm going to cut it down and try and take it with us. Let's first... where is it? It's over... I saw it just now. Where is it? It's over here. There it is. Okay, let's get this chopped down. I don't think it's going to take very long. So we may as well try and include it and get as much money as we possibly can. And money is exactly what we're looking for at this point. So if we can get another 20k from this contract, that would be really nice to get us started next month. I'm not going to be able to see what fields we can buy next month before I record the next episode, so it's going to be as much of a wait for me as it is for you. Unfortunately, I am very tempted to look ahead, but I'm not going to do that. Okay, just chop this one in half one final time. There we go. Okay, which pieces of these can I pick up? Not that piece. I can pick this piece up. Throw it in our trailer. And then we just have 2 more pieces to fit, and we can carry the final piece on our log fork. Okay, up there we go. Is that going to go on there? There we go. Quickly strap it in. Doesn't look like it wants to be strapped in, but I don't know if that's strapped in or not. I'm gonna hope that it is. Okay. Last 2 logs, and I think we're gonna be able to squeeze them just on the side there. But I don't want to speak too soon, so let's try. Now, which piece should I take? I think I'll take the smallest 2 pieces, or the slimmest 2 pieces, and then I'll grab the final piece in the log fork. Okay, 1 piece, and I will strip the branches off this just when I pick the second piece up. Okay, second piece. Let's get rid of these branches. That's it, done. And now let's get over to our trailer. Where's the trailer gone? There it is. Even just losing this little bit of light can be quite disorienting. Okay, how are we going to squeeze these on here? We're going to scoot ourselves around this side of this tree and then swing ourselves in like that. not like that. I have to get past the tree first, like that. I'm really hoping we can get these to stay. It's going to be more difficult than it looks, I think. Let's see. Yeah, they're dying to escape already. I think this is going to be pretty difficult. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just take these two on the log fork. I'm going to leave that final log behind. I think that's a worthwhile sacrifice, just to save us some time. So I don't want to risk unhooking the tie straps and then having half the logs that are already on the trailer fall off. So that one I can pick up with my hand. So you're not escaping, Mr. Log. You're going straight to the carpentry to be chopped up into furniture. Don't even try it. Is that falling off the other side now? No, I think it's good, right? Yeah, I think that's stayed. I'm hoping that stayed exactly where I threw it. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I could try and squeeze them on there, but I'm not going to. Alright, let's get out of this forest and head back over to the road. Okay, so we're over at the carpentry, our final load of logs for September. Let's see how much we're going to get for them. Oof. I made it all the way over here and dropped them at the last minute. That's not what I was hoping for. Okay, I'm going to pick this other log up. Don't want to leave it here. It's so close to the carpentry. I feel like we have to pick it up and get it sold. So, sorry Mr. Car, you're going to have to wait while I pick this up. Impatient car. There we go. Okay. So rather than attach back to the trailer immediately, now is that car actually, yeah, what I'm going to do, I have a feeling that if I get out of the way of this car, it's going to drive so close to the trailer that I can't attach to it. And then I would have to reset the trailer and lose all of these logs. So that is not something I want to do. We've worked really hard to get these logs chopped up and loaded. So, okay, a little bit of brute force never hurt any trailer. That's probably not true. If this was a real tractor, then definitely be seeing some damage to the hitch there. But it's not, so we're all good. Okay, get those two logs sold that are on our fork, so 2,000 just for those two logs. Now how much are we going to get for the trailer? Get it in the sell point. 20,000. Perfect. So that is an absolutely fantastic haul for that job. Plus we still need to collect the contract, so let's collect that contract. So we are on 120,000 euros. We are definitely in a good position to take a look at buying some more equipment in episode 3. So we will leave this episode here. I will head back over to the store and park up our tractor and trailer, and I'll go and sleep in Grandma's bed again. Hopefully Grandma isn't in the bed. But I will see you in October. Hope you've enjoyed watching. If you have, of course, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Until then, bye for now.